Today we have a manga not about life or torture or anything like that. No, today I want to talk about marriage and harem. And as usual, before starting the video, please like and subscribe to the channel because this is my third video. So here we go. The main character of this manga is called Uryu Kamihate, and he spent his whole life in an orphanage. But, as it often happens, at one point he had to leave this warm, though not quite cozy place. Uryu is not religious, which is strange for a resident of Kyoto, a city filled with temples. But ironically, he found himself in one of these temples not to pray, but to live there. For free, of course. Well done, boy. What he didn't expect was that the temple was already occupied, and not by some old monks, but by some very interesting ladies. As soon as he entered the temple, as it usually happens in all anime, 3 beautiful girls appeared in front of him. And you know, every time I'm convinced that such a manga just can't be reality. It's more likely that the portal from Solo Leveling will appear than that there will only be 3 beautiful shrine girls in real life. Now let's get to know them better. The first is the older sister, a calm and sweet girl. The second is the middle sister, who is interesting in every sense of the word. And the third is the younger sister, but I'd better not talk about her, you never know. The second sister declares, "I want to be friends with you." But, as is often the case in anime, it didn't work out. And then the scene turns into a classic misunderstanding where the characters can't understand each other. Yuna suddenly remembers some sort of starfall of wishes and assures that if you make a wish at that moment, it will definitely come true. Uryu replies, "That's bullshit," and a quarrel breaks out on the spot. The next morning, a foreigner comes to the temple, but the priestess doesn't understand a word of her language. Our hero had to deal with the situation as he understands something in English, but this is still a flower because there is a drama ahead of us. Yuna's hairband, which is especially dear to her, has disappeared somewhere. It was the only thing left of her mother. Well, of course she lost it. How can people like that be trusted with important things? Instead of looking for the ribbon, Yuna decides to just pray at the temple. Logic, of course, is ironclad. Uryu, like a real man, couldn't accept this approach and went to look for the ribbon himself. But all he found was dirt and a pile of poop. Great day. But Uryu doesn't give up. He decides to pray, and to everyone's surprise, the temple notices. Is this the first step to God? And as if by magic, behind the back of the heroes begins that very starry-eyed wish fulfillment. It all comes together beautifully, doesn't it? And now for the most important part. Uryu is allowed to live in the temple, but only on one condition. He must inherit the temple and take one of his sisters as his wife. Yes, unfortunately, only one. Of course, no one asked the girls themselves. How do they react to all this? That's right, they don't. Uryu, of course, wants to refuse. Or wait a minute, he's been offered a better school. Looks like he's going to accept after all. Except one of his sisters, Circa, is clearly not thrilled with his presence and decides that getting rid of him would be the best solution. She starts to load him with housework, cleaning, cooking. And although the guy doesn't mind the freebies, she eventually gets her way. Uryu gives up and runs back to his boarding school. That's how our hero realized that marrying one of these ladies is clearly not what he dreamed of. No thanks. Such a woman I do not need. I have to look for her too, thinks Uryu. Of course, with his sharp mind, he quickly finds the right place. And then the hero, as if under the influence of anime cliches, falls down the stairs, remembering his life in great detail, as if his existence came to an end. But don't worry, it was just a dream. Uryu just blacked out and saw a nightmare, not another round of real-life drama. Now let's move on to the annual festival, which is extremely important to the temple. But first, a new obstacle awaits us. The appearance of some characters with an obscure name, Honda Jazz. These guys have decided that robbing the temple is a great idea. Well, our unbeliever Uryu decided to show that even atheists have methods of fighting for justice. However, the situation quickly got out of hand. Fortunately, the older sister, being a true master of hand-to-hand combat, quickly put these underdogs to the ground. In the end, the robbers escaped, but in farewell, said, "Pray. Our brothers will be here soon." Of course, a lot more happened in this manga, but honestly, it's a typical haremnik without much pretension. There's an anime based on this manga coming out in October, and maybe I'll make a second video. No promises though. It's a short video, but what can you do? There's not much to tell. It's just another harem story with a couple of interesting twists. That's all.
Oh my gosh, that was so. Wow, we did it.